Hey, welcome to day 24 of the Get Up and Go Challenge. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here with day 24 of our Get Up and Go free October 30-day challenge. Today is the day 24, and we're going through the SOAP framework, third time through the SOAP framework, covering whatever area you want to be working on: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, financial, relationships, or contribution. I'm working on relationships, and probably the most embarrassing, hardest one for me on the planet is the R in relationships. These are my keys to remind me of the different 7 areas of my life. Actually, we'll throw this in my backpack, or I'll throw this when I'm in my purse when I'm going somewhere, or I just have it sitting by my workstation to remind me that I need to pay attention, at least a little bit of attention, to each of these areas and aspects of my life, or they will get my attention. To be honest, one of the areas I've been ignoring the most in my life is the area of relationships, and especially the area of personal one-on-one relationship with another human being, not friends and family, but like a dating type romantic relationship. And so yesterday our homework was to brainstorm at least 10, or come up with that list of at least 10 ideas of things we could possibly do to close the gap from where we are to where we want to be. Remember, in the S, we decide and we talk about the story of where we are to where we want to be. In O, we think of all of the possible options, and not all of them, of course, but as many as we can. Always more than 3 possible options of what we can do. And then we shared 3. Now, I haven't typed my 3 in yet, so I'm going to share them with you right now. They are: ask friends and family about how to get out in the game of life again and interacting with other human beings more. Coronavirus has really challenged many of us, me included, and I was kind of that way before, just for the last couple of years as my vision's deteriorated, my interaction, my actually getting out into the physical world has been curtailed a bit as well. So one of the things I am committing to myself to doing as part of the Get Up and Go Challenge is actually engaging more, getting out more, both online. One of my 3 is to do online events, on online activity and interactions and Zooms and things like that more. And the other is to do more actual physical activities where I get out and go do things, get involved with things that have always interested me, with respect to, of course, and consideration of my health, because I do have to be a little more careful. I'm old. I'm in the age range now where I need to be careful, and I've had past health challenges, so I need to be a little more careful. But for the most part, I'm not really afraid of it. So I know that I'm always going to do what's right to protect my health and those of the people I love and care about. My daughter is 5+ months pregnant right now, and so I need to make sure that, since we live in the same household, that I am super careful to protect not only myself but her as well, and my new granddaughter. So one of the things was to talk with friends and family, get from being closed on the topic of having dating and other type relationships to from closed to open. I'm not going to expect a lot. I'm just going from I'm absolutely closed to the idea to how do I open up to the possibility of getting involved again. So one was friends and family, one was activities, get out more, volunteer for things, get involved in things, teach things, share my knowledge and wisdom, go for walks, do the things and the hobbies and that I like to do. And the other one was online events and things, which I already touched on. So now that I've picked those 3 things, or I might want to consider other things on my list, what am I going to do? The A in SOAP framework, the A in the SOAP framework stands for action. Nothing happens until we do something, take some action. There's all this talk and belief that you can just think your way to whatever you want. Well, you got to have the right mindset, absolutely, positively. But if you just think and sit on your couch and don't do anything ever, when you think of an idea or something that you're inspired to do, nothing is going to happen. You will die sitting on the couch wishing and hoping for things to happen if you don't ever take that next step and follow through on the inspired action. So I call this one Act Real Now. And why did I call it Act Real Now? Number one, we have to have an action focus, an action direction. Nothing happens. We can study things for years and years and years, but until we actually try and do something, nothing happens. You can read about how to be an excellent athlete or an excellent tennis player, or you can study videos and you can read, and you can go to courses and seminars online or off and listen to all of it. But if you never pick up a tennis racket, you're never going to be a great tennis player. You're never even going to be able to play the game of tennis because you'll never have actually done it. It's like riding a bike. You can read and you can study and you can have people teach you and train you on how to ride a bike, but until you actually sit on a bike and attempt to ride it and probably fall on your head a couple of times, you're not going to actually be able to do it and master it. It's all about taking action. And I say real because you need to take real inspired action, in action that you feel like you should take, like it will move you in the right direction. Every action we take is definitely not going to move us in the right direction. Do we make mistakes? Will we try things that don't work? Absolutely. But we have to try them and do things anyway, because we never know which action is actually going to be the one that we get the breakthrough toward what we want on. There's a reason that I've been involved in 27 or more different businesses and careers and activities in my life. I wasn't sure which one was going to work for me. So I tried a whole lot of different things on to figure out what was right, what felt right for me. And then I ended up in some businesses that actually were really successful, but were bad for me. They didn't feel right for me. So you can be involved in the wrong business, but still get success. You can be involved in the right business and still fail. It depends on your actions and are you moving toward what it is that you want in any area or any aspect of your life. So couple of tools. I'm going to share more than one tool this time with respect to taking action for a couple of reasons. We need to take action right now. We need to do something right now to get moving and to get some momentum, to get some experience. So Mel Robbins, and I don't know if she made this up or if she got it from someone else, but she has a whole book on something called 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 blast off. And it means you give yourself 5 seconds to actually move and take an action. I've done this my whole life, but I love the framework that she shares, the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You give yourself 5 seconds and then you move. You just move, you act. You can use this for little things or big things. You can use it for things, especially things that you need a little courage or that you're a little afraid to do. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you move, you do it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, your alarm clock goes off. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, your feet hit the floor and you are out of bed. That's probably the best thing that anyone can ever do, is understand the power of moving and acting fast. One of the hardest things, and I say this all the time, and people, I don't know if they believe me or not, and maybe it's just because when I was younger, I had physical health challenges and chronic pain, and the hardest thing I had to do every morning, literally, was to get up and get out of bed. If I could get up and get out of bed, if I could get my feet on the floor and stand up, I had already won the day, because I had done literally the mental, physical, emotional, hardest thing that I was going to have to do that day. Did it mean that I didn't hurt worse or I didn't have more challenges during the day? No, but it was going from that sleep state, that unconscious, subconscious sleep state, to the awakened state and the up and moving that was the hardest thing. Because once we start moving, the whole inertia thing, once we get an item or an article or an object in motion, it will continue to move and stay in motion unless acted upon by an equal or opposite force. So once we get moving, we can keep moving, but we have to actually be the energy and the momentum that gets us moving in the first place. So I love 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 blast off. That's a great one for taking action now. Even when we're afraid, we can take action now. And then the other thing is, how do you evaluate? How do you know when you have made this list of things that you could possibly do? How do you know which one you should do first? I think we talked about plus and minus. We've talked about rating things on important or urgency. Now, today I want to talk about one that's actually one that I pretty much do automatically now. I didn't used to do it automatically, but I do now. And it's called the heart, head, and intuition. Heart, head, gut, or heart, head, intuition, depending on what you want to say. Analysis tool and idea and filters. And I put on, every time I need to make a choice or a decision, I run that choice or decision through my head, of course, because my head is usually the one that's telling me, no, don't do that. That's stupid. You're scared. You can't possibly do that. That's not going to work for you. Yeah, it's worked for millions of other people, but it's not going to work for you. So you can't do it. Or there's millions of other people doing it, so you can't do it, which is ridiculous, right? So first, the idea or the action, I run it through my head filter. Then I run it through my heart filter, because there are a lot of things that my head, I will talk myself out of doing, but my heart knows it's the right thing to do. And so I run it through my heart and I run it through my head. And then the biggest one that I didn't used to do. I used to ignore my intuition and ignore my gut instinct on things all the time. If my head said it was right, I would usually go with it. If it said it was wrong and my heart was like not really in it, I would not do the thing. But if my heart and head were both saying yes and everything looked good and amazing on paper, I would usually do the thing. So I think of my relationship with my ex-husband. My heart and my head said yes. My intuition said no, but I totally ignored my intuition. Same with a business partner. I had a business partner that was unimaginably god awful bad. I mean, did things that I could not even fathom or imagine that someone would do to anyone, much less to somebody they were in partnership with for a business. And this happened to be a family member. So my intuition said, don't do it. But everything on paper and in my heart said, okay, do it. Help this person out. And lo and behold, it ended up being, because I didn't listen to my intuition, an absolute positive nightmare on so many levels. So I filter everything, every decision, every choice. And I'll do that with these 3 today through my heart, my head, and my gut, my intuition. So if my gut says, say my head says, ask friends and family about opening up to the possibility of dating, or whatever they call it these days. And then my heart says, yeah, I could probably ask my friends and family. But my gut says, don't fricking ask your friends and family because you know it's going to be a nightmare. I'm probably not going to choose that option to talk to friends and family about people they might know that would be, compatible with me. So I'm going to filter everything through my heart, my head, and my intuition. Now, if you want to take it a step further, there's a technique I learned probably in college and used a lot throughout corporate America. It's when you had a list of alternatives and choices and different actions or projects you could do, you would assign value to each of those items. And this was a simpler form of the urgent, important, and the adding numerical values to that, although you can use nominal group technique with that as well. But what you do is say I have 10 possibilities, 10 possible options I can take. And this is better in a group, getting different people to weigh in, so it's more of a team thing than it is me individually. But I've used it on myself as well. So for example, with the head, heart, and intuition, I could assign a value from 1 to 10 of how I'm feeling about each of those items, and then rate them, and then add up and total, and then the one with the highest total, because that 1 to 10, I would say 10 means that I'm more leaning toward doing that. 1 would be, no, I don't. My heart, my head, or my intuition says no. And then positive would be a higher number on 1 to 10. Then I could add up for each of the alternatives and come up with the priority order. Nominal group technique is another way of doing that, but usually with a group. My daughter used this to name her puppy. She won a puppy when she was about 8 years old, and we always told her she couldn't get a puppy till she was 10. So she won this puppy at the Pheasants Forever banquet and spent the next 3 days trying to name the puppy, coming up with names. And so she would have everyone in the family, there were 4 of us, nominal group technique, her name. So she listed out all these names. I was obviously a corporate quality manager at the time and had taught her what nominal group technique was. So she'd have all the names, and then we would take the number of names minus 1. So if she had 10 names, we would all get 9 votes, and we would rank those names 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 based on our favorites. So our favorite got a 9, our next favorite got an 8. And then we would tally them up, get a total, and there'd be a winner, a high number of the ranks. And then she would come up with more names and do it again. And we went through nominal group technique, I don't remember how many times, at least a dozen in that 3-day period, when she finally came up with the name of Cola, Kola, for her jet black black lab puppy. And it was really fun. But it goes to show you, even an 8-year-old child can use this strategy and this technique to help make a decision and a choice easier. And sometimes our head wants or needs more information. Our heart and intuition say, yeah, we should do this, but we want more proof that we should do it. So nominal group technique is a good way to do that. Like I said, it works better in a group than it does individually. And I'm definitely not going for any group input on this particular thing. I will just rate 1 to 10 head, heart, intuition for myself, and then come up with my order, and I will pick the one action I'm going to take. Now, of course, our action item today is to pick one thing and do it. Actually do it. So I want you to share in the action item thread what one thing you're going to do. Whether you've done it or not, it doesn't matter. But what one thing are you committing to doing? Because guess what? When you write it down, you're holding yourself accountable to actually doing it. That's why I am writing all of these assignments and things and doing all of these assignments in my book, because I'm holding myself accountable. Doesn't matter what anybody else sees or knows or does. It matters that I actually am doing it, because I'm doing it for me, right? And you need to be doing it for you. So today, 3 possible ways of looking at things. We want to act now, so we're going to use 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, blast off. Once we decide the thing that we're going to do, what action we're going to take to move us from where we are to where we want to be, closer in the area we're working on. So I'm working on relationships, so I want to be from closed to open and fill that gap. What am I going to do? And I'm going to use my heart, my head, and my intuition to actually go back and analyze. This was my big list, and then here's my 3. Analyze probably, I don't know if I'll do all of them or if I'll just do the 3. It depends what I got going on today, whether I will look at all 10 and analyze all 10 using my head, my heart, my intuition, which I probably will, because it doesn't take that much longer to do 10 as it does 3. And I'm going to actually use numbers 1 through 10 and rate them and see what one comes up highest on the list, because I actually, just thinking about it, don't have one that stands out and says, oh, you should do this. So I'm going to do that. I actually did notice today as I was starting this video that down on Facebook, there's actually a dating tab. So maybe I'll check that out. That was pretty funny. Okay. So that is our action today, our real action now. And if you need some help in helping you, maybe you need some motivation to act, just remind yourself of why. Why do I want to get from close to open, close to open? Why do I want to get from being closed in this area to open? What happens and what's in it for me if I do it? What am I going to pay? What's the cost of me not doing it, not doing anything? And I want to weigh that. And if I need more motivation, personal motivation, I ask myself why. And I think we went through the 7 whys early on in the challenge. But if you missed that one, go back and listen to the tape. I could probably look and see what day it was. I want to say it was early on. Actually, day 6. So go back and listen to day 6, and that will tell you the 7 whys and how powerful a tool that is. So now we got a whole bunch of tools. Let's just go out and do it. Get up and go. Take action. Do something today to move you toward what you want. And tomorrow we will talk about the big P in our SOAP framework, because that is the glue that brings it all and ties it all together and brings it home. Have a fun day. I will, of course, be with you tomorrow.